programs here at Mass CEC. I'm joined today with Tamika Jacques, the Director of Workforce Development, and we'll be beginning the presentation shortly. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us, so please just hang tight. Hi everyone, looks like we're about to begin. Again, I'm Andrew and I'm joined here with Tamika. If you have questions throughout this presentation, please just type them in your screen and we'll field that at the end. What Tamika is going to do is she'll give a broad overview of the RFP that we have out and then run through some of the specifics and answer any preliminary questions you might have, any just general items. And then at the end, we'll open it up for some Q&A. So with that, I'll turn over to Tamika, and she will lead us going forward.
Great. So we're going to get started because I just want to make sure that we're off in time, and I'm sure everyone is busy. So this is just the Pathways Out of Poverty Successful Women Clean Energy webinar. Basically, we're just going to go over the RFP, some of the logistics, some of the planning. I have to say this is probably a little different RFP, as usually we'll ask you to write into an RFP and then we'll kind of let you go off and do your own program. This one, because it's a pilot, it definitely be more closely monitored by Mass CEC, and it definitely will be, whoever we award will be definitely partnering with them because of the logistics of this RFP. So with that, I'm going to get started. And basically, for those of you who don't know about the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, here is our mission listed in these 5 bullet points. Of course, as you can see, the arrow is where workforce development comes in to create high-quality jobs and long-term economic growth. And with that, we have other divisions within Mass CEC. We have a division that gives rebates to Massachusetts customers based on how much energy they're putting back into the grid. We also invest in startup companies. We invest in commercial and residential energy installations. We support projects across Massachusetts. So we do, various different projects at the Mass CEC. But of course, today we're just focusing on workforce development. So this funding stream comes out of Pathways Out of Poverty. And basically, the funding stream that is part of our legislation that when we were created back in 2008, this basically helps low and moderate income earners. And we really look at this as a way for low income, moderate income residents of Massachusetts to be able to learn about clean energy, get some training, and be able to have a wage that will give them the financial stability that they need to live in Massachusetts. As you all know, it's expensive to live in Massachusetts. And so we want to try to make sure that people that are also in transition, unemployed, veterans, out-of-school youth we funded before under this. But this particular funding application that we are talking about today is just focusing in on women only. And so just to go over a little bit of where we are right now. So since 2010, clean energy has had about a 47% growth rate, and we're almost very close to having 6,000 clean energy firms in Massachusetts. And as you can see from the slide, that we're almost at about 88,000 and a half of clean energy jobs, almost at 88,500. I'm sure we're there somewhere. And then the clean energy growth is definitely outpacing the general Massachusetts economy by 10%. So as you can see from this chart, clean energy is definitely growing. It's an industry that's here to stay. It's currently this is the industry that basically will be able to take the workers, train them, and give them the economic stability that they need. So the reason why we are concentrating on women is because some of the data that we saw in our clean energy report, and I encourage you to go on masscec.com, and you'll be able to see someone saying that they can't see the PowerPoint, Andrew. So sorry to interrupt. So let's give us 1 second.
Give us 1 second. Let's try to play with this a little bit. All right, are you able to see the PowerPoint now?
Great.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry about that.
And just one last item I forgot to mention. We're also recording this, and it will be hosted on our website after we've concluded this webinar for anyone who wants to review or pass it on to anybody they think might also be interested.
Great. So sorry about that. We apologize. Basically, the reason why we're concentrating on women is because of some data that we saw out of the Clean Energy Report. And basically, as you see on the screen, that 26% of the new clean energy hires over the past year were women, compared to in the Massachusetts workforce, there's about 51%. And so to us, that was like a great disparity, and it just made us focus on a program that is dedicated to women, because we want to make sure that they're able to have opportunities in the clean energy world as well, industry as well, here in Massachusetts. And if you look at a report that was prepared by Bentley University this year, if you look at their statistics, it also says that while women are better prepared for the first job, men are more prepared for their overall career. And a lot of times, if you look at data as well, when you look at a CEO, who's CEO at a company, or a lot of the startups, a lot of those positions that have given someone that opportunity to rise up to CEO, a lot of times they start in sales or management. And that's not the same track that a woman usually might go into. And again, I'm just generalizing here, so you know, I'm not, if you look at the data, this will show it. I'm not making this up. But based on that, we've decided to concentrate on women, and we've decided to concentrate on sales. Because one thing, as we have asked our employers in our clean energy report, is that when we ask them, you know, what are the positions that you can concentrate on that don't necessarily need that bachelor's degree or that associate's degree, that you can take someone with a high school diploma and they work best with experience, by having some sort of training and experience. And a lot of them will say that sales is one of the sectors that you can take someone, they don't necessarily need a master's degree, you give them some training, and if it's the right personality, they become that great salesperson. And those are positions that we're looking for to kind of work around clean energy, especially because we are a new industry, and we have to sell this industry if we wanted to keep the numbers that you've seen in the previous slides of the growing capacity. We have to make sure that we're able to sell our industry. So that's why we're investing in women and also investing in the training of sales. Sorry. Okay. So what are we seeking? How do we put all this together? We are looking for a training provider, and again, this is a pilot program, so if the training provider that is selected, if this works out great, we'll probably will offer this funding opportunity again. Like I said, this is a little different because we will be closely working with the training provider to make sure that the components are executed and that everything is carried out. So we're looking for a training provider that will prepare adult women, and they must be 24 years of age and have at least a high school diploma or a GED. And based on the income requirements, and you can find the income requirements in the RFP in the back, that do not exceed 300% of the federal poverty level or some other sufficiency standard. We would like it if you would use the one in the back. I realize there's a few. There's maybe a few out there, especially for Massachusetts. So that's the first thing, training women in sales and business. And if you look at who we're looking for the displaced worker, a veteran, underemployed, unemployed. It could be someone that is working and looking for additional training, but we're asking that they just meet that the income level requirement. And we're looking for a training provider that will provide career readiness, financial literacy, college preparedness. And the key here, I should have highlighted this, is a key component is how to survive in a male-dominated industry. And so with all that mixed in with the work preparedness and other topics that you might be familiar with training these type of participants, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a training provider that can take all those different topics, combine that into training along with sales. And so again, we're looking for a provider that will work with individuals and given the training that was mentioned before. And also with this, and I'll get into that in a little while, of the clean energy sales training, which we've already pre-purchased, you will have the opportunity to work with our curriculum specialist who we pre-purchased from, and you can mix that into your curriculum as well. So you will have that opportunity at a later date depending on who is awarded. And so with all the training that would be provided once they go through there, and we're saying no more than 20 weeks of training. 5 months is a long time. We want to be able to keep these participants however you see fit, whether you're proposing training for at night, whether you're proposing training during the day, whether you're proposing training on Saturdays. We want to see how you would come up with this. And then once all that training has been completed, how to dress for success, how to get that job, how to go for an interview, we will work with the training provider and we will provide a fellowship to these women at a clean energy company in Massachusetts. And the way that this is working is we are going to send out a letter to our employers asking them if they would like to participate in this program. So we're hoping that we'll be flooded with an abundance of employers for these 10 to 12 women that you would be training. That way we would have, they'd be able to interview at least 2 employers depending on, which part of the state they're in or where they're located. So we're really looking for you to prepare them for these paid fellowships. And it mentions in the RFP what the wage is. And I just want to mention that we do understand that because some workers, or some of your participants, some of the participants are going to be on subsidies, whether it's with DTA or disability benefits, whatever it is. We will work that out later with the training provider. So, a training provider might say, well, if I provide this wage, if my participant who I want to train wants to be part of this fellowship, if they take on a wage, they will lose their benefits, and that's not something we want to do. So we will negotiate that at a later time, how we could use those, what would have been their paid wages, how we could use that to whether it's pay for their transportation to get to their job, or provide a bus pass, or maybe a subsidy for daycare. Something like that can be worked out. We're just not going to get into those logistics right now. We're going to award first, but that would be something that possibly could be negotiated later on to help with the participants, because we don't want anyone to lose benefits over this. And the other key is that you're going to use the pre-purchase sales curriculum. Again, you will, once awarded, you will learn what this is, and the curriculum provider will work with you. Some of it is online. Some of it they will come to you. We have it paid so that they will come to your location wherever you are. So there is different components of it. And some of these things I probably looked at or addressed a few slides ago, but I just want to point that out. It's always good to look at assessment tools that are going to meet your program criteria. We are trying for an 85% success rate in this program, so it's important that you have those tools in place and that you're able to really tell MassDEC what you are going to do to select your participants and how you're going to be able to. We all know that there are participants that may drop out or may be lost, but we want to make sure that you're set up so that based on who you picked on your assessment tools, however you use them, that these are the best people that met the criteria for your program. So one thing that we definitely will be looking for in the application, as I just mentioned, is how you're going to use your recruitment tools, again, to select the best possible candidate. And we're going to be looking for heavy case management in this proposal, because we know that because of the participants that we are talking about, sometimes they need personal counseling, career counseling, and they just need a lot of support services. And we are aware of that, and we are prepared in this RFP. We would like to see that in your budget as well. You know, items factored in or cost factored in is that it's going to give these participants the greatest success and carry them through the whole program. So the whole program means being trained by you for whatever length of time that is, and then going into the fellowship and having you be that mentor to them, or having the training provider really stick by them and watch over them and kind of coddle them to make sure that they go through everything that they need, so that, you know, everyone is coming out with a paid fellowship, and then they're gaining this experience, and then after the 6 months, hopefully the company will pick them up, or will provide other resources to you know, help them get another job somewhere in clean energy. So just part of the mandatory program component. Again, this is a pilot program, and this is something new we're doing by pre-purchasing curriculum and paying a paid fellowship. We've never done this before. Usually it's we'll have the training provider does on-the-job training, or they pay for the on-the-job training through the budget. This way we're saying we're going to pick up the paid the fellowship, and because we're doing this because we want to make sure we know who our employers are that we work with, and also maybe you might have a clean energy employer, so you know you could alert us to say, could you send them an application if you are awarded. And so one thing we say as we're working close, we would like as part of your application that you have to have a part-time or a full-time staff member dedicated solely to this program. We don't want someone's time, you know, at .20 or .30. We want, you know, half-time or full-time program staff member as part of the application. So that's definitely mandatory. And we want to hear about the length and amount of time. Again, going back to support services, it's so important. I know you all are training providers, so it's definitely important that they are provided the best opportunities and the best support services to really make them successful in this program. And as you can see from the title, it's called Successful Women in Clean Energy. And so we really want to live up to, you know, our title. We want to make sure that the women that are part of this program are successful. And the last point on this slide is that we want all the participants trained as a cohort and move them through as a cohort. So we want them to all take classes together and be on the same page, and we don't want them to be individually trained. So that's our last. And as you can see in the RFP, I'm just repeating this, but the qualifications should not exceed 12 pages. The timeline and the budget sheet, it's not part of the narrative section. And we're asking you to address the program components, which a little bit has been mentioned before, and also what's in the RFP, so the applicant commitment, the qualifications, the program detail, the staff members, the partners, who's going to support, you know, what are part of the support services, and as well as the budget. And I just want to say that, I think I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but the funding for this program is $125,000 for one training provider. Again, it is a pilot program. The program should be, I think we said, between 12 and 15 months, you know, total. So that includes a 6 months of training, not part of your training, but the 12 months is, you know, part of them being trained in 6 months, and then your program. So it should all total that. And again, we think that $125,000 should be enough to provide support services, to have you know, a full-time or a part-time person in there and to be able to provide for them. And then we picked up the curriculum. So again, there's no match required, but it's always great to see how you are leveraging your other resources and other funding streams that would help us accomplish Successful Women in Clean Energy. So it's not required, but it's always good to put it in there. It doesn't give you more points or anything on the point system, but it's just great so that we can be able to tell our board of directors and others who look at, you know, our programs of how we're leveraging other resources out there in the community. And the eligibility is, I feel like it's pretty much everyone, but, you know, higher education institutions, 2 4 years, 501c3 status, clean energy employers, community-based organizations, workforce investment boards, labor unions, workforce training providers. And again, because this is a pilot, we're really looking for an experienced training provider that has experience in in training people and developing relationships with employers and working with pathways out of poverty populations and placing trainees, on the job or permanent employment. We're not looking for a new training provider that, wants to try to dabble in, placing workers or try it for the first time doing some workforce programs. We're really looking for an experienced training provider that already kind of has that in the background and can leverage some of their own resources so that we really do have a successful Women in Clean Energy program. And just here are some of the dates, which you can find in your RFP. This proposal is due on March 2nd at 2 p.m. You can email this proposal to me, or you can send it electronically. Or you can send it to the mail. I'm sorry, I do have an error here. It says Monday, March 2nd at 12 p.m. That actually should be 2 p.m. I apologize for that. So it is 2 p.m. Monday, March 2nd. Or you can send it through the mail as long as we get it by that Monday, 2 p.m. in the mail. We also will accept that. And we're asking for 2 copies if you're going to email. We would like one in Microsoft Word and one should be in PDF format. Oops. I'm sorry, I hit double slide. And then if you have any comments, you have a few days to email me some comments or questions, and then we will get them on the website as they come in. Here's my email address, tjacques@massdec.com. And I just put a little plug in here because we do have a jobs board here at MassDEC, and so if you have participants that are looking for a job in clean energy, we encourage you to visit our jobs board because I think there's definitely some jobs there, and it would be great if you could share those with your participants who you are out there training. And we're also on Twitter and we're also on LinkedIn. So with that, I will open it up for questions. If you want to type your question in, I will give you a few minutes. Any questions that you might have?
Great, and I also just want to jump in really quickly and let you all know that the jobs board was recently updated. As of last week, we have a new version up, which is by far easier for employers to navigate, for interested parties to look for jobs. So if you had previous experience with our jobs board, just know that this is a highly updated version. We're going to continue updating it going forward. So with that, I guess we can dive into the questions. So Kamika, the first question is, how many approved clean energy companies are in my area, around the Springfield area? So approved clean energy companies. I know recently in MassDC we're doing this mapping initiative where we're being able to take a look at where our clean energy employers are in relation to the state. And I know that Springfield is one of the areas we're trying to expand upon. I don't have a firm number. Do you know? No,
we just did a map actually. I mean, there's employers out there. When you say Springfield area, you might, I don't know how far you reach. So are we talking about Worcester? I'm not sure when you say Springfield, what area you're reaching out to, but I mean the Springfield area could be Worcester, but we do have companies on the western side of the state that we could definitely reach out to. Like I said, right now we're not getting into company information because we are going to, we'll send out an application to all of our employers, and so, but there are companies on the western side of the state, I can definitely say that there is. And we will do our best to place, like I said, all the 10 women. We feel like for the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, so placing 10 women in internships, fellowships shouldn't be hard for us, wherever you're located.
Great, great. So moving on to the next question. Here's a question is, would you like us to train in cohorts? Is it possible to do 2 cohorts of 6?
Absolutely. We just want them trained in cohorts. So however you come up with that, that's fine because 12 may be too much. So definitely we could do 2 cohorts of 6.
Great. And so there was also a question on why the questions deadline is coming up, but the proposal deadline is further on down the line. Is it possible to extend the questions deadline?
We don't do that. We do it right after the webinar because we'll probably be issuing another RFP shortly, and plus we manage other grants. So it's just It's a matter of capacity here. You know, I don't want to be responsible if your email comes in, you know, at a certain deadline where it's busy for us and I can't get your email. So I'd rather know that you have a question. And I think one of the great things about Mass CEC is that we're very flexible with proposals. We're not, if you've had a proposal with us in the past, you know that we probably are one of the easier, I want to say, agencies to get along with. So if it's like a burning question, you know, like I said, you know, you probably could email us after. If it's something we can answer, we'll do our best, but I just don't want to guarantee that your question will be answered because sometimes it depends on the capacity here. But if you email us, we'll let you know, yes, we can answer this, or no, we can't answer it. So,
Great, okay. So moving on, what expectations does Mass CEC have in continuing this program after the 6-month training program?
So I guess I'm confused by the question. If it's after the paid fellowship, we don't have anything set up now. The hope is that whoever it is would be picked up by the company, or we would set it up so that we would know in advance that they're not going to be picked up. So maybe the 5th month, be checking in with them, and we would expect the training provider to do this, be checking in with their students. Do you think there's going to be an opportunity in your company? And if not, because that person has gone through training with the training provider, they will be eligible to get a paid internship at a company, at a clean energy company, wherever, you know, in their area. It just won't be at the same rate. Our internship program right now is $12 an hour. Probably by the summer it'll be $14 an hour. So they would be eligible to get an internship after their fellowship because they've gone through this training.
Great. Can women be recruited from throughout Massachusetts, or is there a specific area that you're focusing on?
No, I mean, women could be recruited from wherever. There's no specific area on this. That's the great thing. It's a pilot. However, you know, the important thing is that they have to be able to get to you. Wherever you're a training provider, they have to be able to get to you. So, you know, if you're in, you know, down the Cape, I don't think you want to be recruiting from the western side of the state unless you have that resident capability where you're keeping people there. Like I said, during the fellowship, we could talk about providing transportation subsidies because we do not want that to be a barrier. Our goal here is to eliminate the barriers. So, you know, just be careful when you're recruiting that where your location is that people, are they really going to get there? Because we have experience with the internship program where interns, at first, they think they're going to be able to commute to the company. Say if they're in Amherst and they want to, they want to do an internship in Boston, and it really does pose a problem. So just be very thoughtful if that's what you're going to do. Be very thoughtful.
Great. So will the training provider be responsible for recruiting the participants?
Yes, you are responsible for recruiting your own participants. Mass CEC is taking the responsibility for getting the fellowships with the companies. We're going to go out and talk to the companies ourselves, and we've already been doing this. So I actually have some companies that are just like, can't wait for us to award. And then we'll be responsible for placing them, but we're asking you to support them in training and also while they're in their paid fellowship to call them or whatever support services that you provide. We're asking you to track them. So whether that may be calling them once a week, twice a week, going to visit their place of employment if necessary, or visiting them somewhere where they could speak with you. That's what we're asking for you to do. To really, coddle is probably a bad word, but really to be successful, sometimes the students, they just need every support service possible. So we'd like for them to be coddled during this time.
Great. The fellowship is 6 months long, but does the training need to be 6 months long as well? Is this something that can be more flexible?
Nope, the training does not have to be 6 months. I think I said in the RFP that we didn't want it no more than 20 weeks. I have to look at that, actually. I'm sorry, I don't know where it's located, but it does not have to be 6 months. I mean, you probably would not want it for 6 months, depending on what type of participant you have. You might have a participant that's working, you know, underemployed, and so maybe they can only do training at night, or you know, whatever the situation is. So that we don't want it to be 6 months. We want it to be effective, and also, you know, I don't want to say short, but we don't want to make it too long either.
Would it be possible to split the funding between 2 collaborating organizations in 2 separate locations across the state to maximize participation and increase the likelihood of successful outcomes?
Yeah, at this time, no. Again, this is a pilot, so it's a pilot program that it's one-time funding right now. If the pilot program works great, then this whoever is awarded will be able to apply again. But we want to see if this works. Number one, you know, we've never really concentrated on females or just one, you know, set like this, male versus female. We never concentrated on that, so we want to see if this will work. We've never concentrated on, per se, the sales sector. We've never pre-purchased curriculum because this is because we want to make sure that it's what we need, not so much what a training provider might think that someone needs in sales, because we feel like we're the experts in clean energy. So this is something new that we're doing. So again, we're awarding one training provider right now, and again, it could come. You know, we could have great applications and we could hold them for a little while and maybe just see how the first training provider works out, and I'd go back and address later on. So right now, we're just awarding one workforce agency. That's it.
Great. Will the fellowships have metrics?
We don't have metrics for our internship program. So right now we don't have metrics. It will be based on what this person will be treated like an employee. So whatever the company is going to need from them as far as being an employee, what's acceptable to that company, and we'll make sure that they have they'll have a meeting before they start, and they'll have an opportunity to interview with the company. They'll know all that. But not necessarily metrics, but we will expect that they will complete their 6-month fellowship.
Great. We need to include funds for an evaluator. Is it preferred or required to hire an outside evaluator?
Yeah, so it's preferred. Yes, you do need to hire an evaluator because we just want to see, what an outside person would think. It's up to you who you hire. A lot of you might use an outside evaluator. If you need evaluators, because we've done this in the past, we can give you people's names, but we're not going to tell you basically who to pick. I think that, you are a workforce training provider and you're the experts in training participants, so we would allow you to pick your provider.
So just a quick follow-up question to that. Is there an evaluation format that we prefer?
Yeah, so we have a sample evaluation that we use for our one of our Learn and Earn programs, and we would like for it to be an external person. Usually it's a consultant that is paid to do it or to look at the program or develop. Sometimes internal, it's they don't have an open eye. So, if you can prove that your external evaluator is someone that is hired by the organization to do this for your program, other than that, we'd like for it to be an outside person.
But is there a specific format that we would prefer?
We could share it to you. I could send it. We could definitely send you what we look for.
Great. And then what is the expected full-time income after the program for an individual?
I can't comment on that. So these are entry-level sales jobs, and we feel that entry-level, it probably could be $20 or more based on the company, but I don't know because I don't know if the company is going to pick them up. So I don't want to say what it is. I think that, and there's no guarantee that they'll even be picked up by their company. This is just a way to get someone in, to get experience, and the hope is that they'll be able to have a job by the end. So whether it's with that company or that we will provide resources as far as, giving them companies that are hiring in sales, because there's a lot of companies in clean energy that are looking for sales work. So we want them to have a job at the end. And so we will also, this is what I mean by work closely with Mass DEC, we will do our best to make sure that, the participants are placed in jobs. That meaning that, the participants have made their 6 months and they, performed well on the job. I just don't want to say everyone's going to have a job after, because I don't know how these participants will be performing. So.
And then quick follow-up to that, assuming someone does get hired, is it reasonable to assume that they would be at the same income level as that was provided by Mass CEC?
They'd probably be greater.
Okay.
They'd probably be at a greater income level. 17 is what we looked at for starting at $30,000 per year. If you did $17 an hour times a 40-hour work week, that's what you make at $30,000. And most of our jobs start about 40, 45. That's just for starting. So they probably would make more than what Mass CEC is able to subsidize the wage right now.
So a comment was made referencing the partners for this project, which isn't a requirement but is preferred. The question is, will Mass CEC provide these partners or provide options for partners?
Partners as far as, do you mean support partners as far as like personal counseling, career counseling, or employer partners? Because the employer part, we'll be doing that on our end, and we will make sure that they know who you are, because we would want to provide them with, who's been training them, what they've been provided with. So, okay, she said that was answered, so we're good.
Great, great. And then if the pilot is successful, will Mass CEC continue this program going forward?
Yes, I definitely think we will, because we are definitely concentrating on women this year, coming up in 2015. So if this program is successful and it works out, I hope that we will be able to fund, at least one program, in each region of the state. So that's talking about the western side of the state, the northern part, the southern part, the central part. So absolutely. I mean, the reason why we're doing this as a pilot is because we just want to make sure that this is something that, when we come up with an idea or based on data, we want to really make sure it works. I don't want to put out an RFP and we say, here's 10 organizations, now go see if it works. We want to be able to really, if this works, to really utilize it across the state. And so we want to be able to say, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, and this is how you can effectively have the same program. So right now, again, we're just sticking with one program, but I do see this, I do see this as being something that we will definitely fund in the future. And also, as we're concentrating in women in 2015, we're having a social, an intern social in next month, just for women. So we are concentrating on women very heavily in 2015.
Question, may we request funding to license a specific proven job readiness training called Bounce?
If that's what you want to do, in your program, absolutely. If that's, if you're trying to purchase a certain job readiness curriculum, yeah, absolutely. You can request funding for that.
Great. Great. So are there any last questions anyone might have? I know
we will put up on the website the evaluation tool that Northeastern University used, and it will have her name in there who did the evaluation tool, but it just show you the format that we use and what we've received from other grantees. So we will definitely put that on the website as well. It takes a couple of days for us to get it up. We don't actually put it up ourselves. I wish we did, but we don't. So but we will put that up for you just to review that.
Great, great. And again, as a reminder, this webinar was recorded, so we'll also be putting that up online. So if you want to review any of these questions and answers, you can listen in and get back up to speed. But I think these are some excellent questions.
And I do look forward to the applications. I know some of you might be saying, well, you're only awarding one. But I think, the goal of the program is to get more than one application in and give us some other ideas maybe to fund future applications. So please don't think, well, they're only funding one application. It would be great to see some ideas that across the state, what you have, and maybe we can go forward at another time. Just right now, again, it's a pilot, but I do look forward to your applications coming in.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your participation and for joining us today. Again, any questions you have, please get them in. You can send them to Tamika. Her email is right here. And best of luck with your submission. Thank you.
Thank you.